Hey guys, welcome to the Ice Hockey Aussies. We're here to talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs round two. This is take two of the Vancouver Canucks and Edmonton Oilers series, as our recording completely crashed during the first take.
At the end.
Um,
At the end. It was like
at the
the
end, right at the end,
95%
yeah.
mark, and then it crashed. It's great.
And we're not great editors at this point, so we'll just go again. Um, yeah, so hopefully this time it's all good. But yeah,
And
look,
that's the
let's jump
video,
straight
guys. Thank
into
you
it.
for watching.
And we're done. Um, no, we'll jump straight into it. Look, we had two very different series in the first round between these two. So Edmonton Oilers obviously getting the job done really easily against the Los Angeles Kings, 4-1. Not really tested, too much in that series. Third time in 3 years. At this point, it's almost a bye round for the Oilers getting to the second round. Meanwhile, the Vancouver Canucks obviously had the absolute defensive powerhouse series against the Nashville Predators, where they won 4-2. And yeah, I think Vancouver averaged 2.16 goals and Nashville averaged 2 goals a game. So very, very defensive series, but it was absolutely phenomenal to watch. My question now for this series is, can Vancouver transition into a more offensive game style? Because they're not going to get a defensive game style from Edmonton. It's a completely different team they're coming up against. How are they going to transition? What are your thoughts on this, Jaden?
Yeah, I guess I'll just go straight into my prediction this time. So my prediction straight away is Oilers in 6, purely based really on Demko not being there. So what's your prediction?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I've got the Oilers in 6 as well. A lot of that does bank on Demko. I just don't think that I know their backup goalies held quite strong in the Nashville series, but the Predators offense versus the Oilers offense is completely different, and I just cannot see those backup goalies into Smith and Silovs, holding strong against the likes of McDavid, Draisaitl, Evander Kane, etc. So, and
Yeah.
Zach Hyman, who's already got seven
Well,
goals in the playoff series.
that's the difference, isn't it? Like they've run 3 goaltenders. Obviously, one of them won't be playing anymore. So they've got the second string and third string goaltenders. Oilers only playing the one goaltender at the moment in Skinner. We know how shaky he has been in previous years. Um, so if he can remain consistent, that's what they're looking for, is consistency with Skinner this year. So far doing alright with a .91. Honestly, Kings didn't, put up too much of a fight, especially when you're not scoring on the power play. That does hurt you. In regards to the teams, Oilers side of things, obviously you got the same names as always: the McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, Hyman, Hopkins. Always the same names. The problem is depth. I know they've got 10 goal scorers and Vancouver's only got 6, mainly because of how defensive that game was against that series was against Nashville for Vancouver, and how a bit more free flowing it was for Edmonton. Even though Kings play that, well, I don't know what you call it, a neutral trap, um, you know, system to kind of shut down the game. Oilers will
Yeah.
always beat that because they've got the speed. Um, Onto the Vancouver side of things, obviously you got Beza, Miller, Hughes, and whatnot up there. But I think where they got the trump here over the Oilers is that they've got more depth and they've got the coaching style, like a system that they're playing into that everyone's bought into. Whereas the Oilers don't really have that too much. It's really reliant on the firepower. Sometimes they play a good defensive game, and then sometimes there's no defense at all. And so my concern is that, players like Mikheyev for Vancouver haven't shown up so far, only averaging just under 12 minutes a game. So there's a couple of people in the depth perspective that need to step up for Vancouver, but they got more people showing up, in my opinion, than Oilers. Sorry, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm not too sure where you're going to see that battle. What your opinion is on the firepower of Oilers top end against the depth of Vancouver?
Yeah, I think that's why I've got it in 6. I think the depth of Vancouver is there to sort of steal a game or two. It's why I can't see the Oilers sort of running away with this in 4. It's just going to be a question on can they show up, Obviously, you sit there and go, oh, well, Pedersen hasn't scored a goal. JT Miller's only got the 1 goal. They don't have a huge amount of goals from most of their big firepower outside of Boesa, Brock Boesa. But at the end of the day, it was a defensive game. You're not gonna get the All Stars, putting up four goals each. They're gonna put a goal or two because they only scored 13 goals in the series. However, this is going to be a lot more open. So I expect to see, Pedersen putting up 2 or 3 goals in this series. Probably Miller and Besser and Dakota Joshua sort of all the way down that line to even where you said Mikheyev. I can see him putting up a couple of goals as well because it's not going to only be a 13 goals in 6 games scenario. You're probably going to see 13 goals from the Canucks in the first 3. And the crazy thing is they could be 0-3.
Yeah.
Because the Oilers have put up 6. But yeah, ultimately I think, their firepower is going to turn up in this next game. It's just going to be a question mark of can their defense. They don't even have to withhold the whole Edmonton lineup because, like I said, that bottom 6, and you said before, that bottom 6 is ordinary, but it's that top 6 and the deadliness of Hyman and Draisaitl. They got 7 and 5 goals combined, but no one else has really scored. Can they hold them at bay and can they get decent goaltending from these 2 backups? Because it's a lot different holding at bay Nashville's offense versus the likes of McDavid, Draisaitl, Kane, Hyman, bloody Nugent Hop, the whole lot of that Edmonton
Well,
Oilers
it's a completely
team.
different style. Like Nashville have a physical forecheck style where they will hit you against the boards, whereas Edmonton's all about speed, pace, and fast pass movements. And so it's completely different style. They're going to have to adjust Vancouver defensively to match that, and they're going to have to get the offense to match Oilers' offense as well. So there's a few things that have to click right for them. One thing that's not clicking right now, Vancouver's power play 15%, Oilers 45%. They're always got a higher power play. Both penalty kills are doing good, 90% and 100%, and face-offs both at 50. So they're looking good there, but if Vancouver can get their power play running, get it up to around 25% mark, I feel like that can take them the next step and probably win them an important game that gets them to Game 7, and then anything happens. But yeah, like I said, I would probably have Vancouver as my favourites if Demko wasn't injured. I think it really just is coming down to that for me, because I don't know how long and how well your second and third string goalies handle the power that's going to come from Edmonton, because they don't need too many opportunities. They only need 2 power plays and they'll have 2 goals. So that is my concern, and that's why Edmonton and 6 for me.
And and I'm the same. I think if Demko was healthy, my prediction could easily swap to Canucks in 6. And I think the reason why I'm going against Canucks, same thing. I just can't see that backup goaltending standing up against the Oilers' absolutely potent top 6 and power play. I think they'll fall apart. So unfortunate because I've loved, the Canucks season and the story of them going from an absolute, disaster show last season.
It's crazy what
Talking about
happens
ripping it.
in 1
Well,
year.
exactly. They were talking about ripping it apart, and now, they were first in the Pacific, and they're in the second round of the playoffs. So, great story. They can still win this, so of course they can. But unfortunately, I feel like that Demko injury is ultimately going to cost them what could have been a Western Conference final. But from a Canadian perspective, you guys are going to have one team in the playoffs. So in the Western Conference final, which is incredible. And as I think you said
50%
before,
chance. for
50% chance for a
finals.
Canadian team in the Stanley Cup. So that's incredible from a Canadian team perspective. But yeah, for me, Edmonton in 6. I'm with you on that. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we have to see if the coaching in the system pans out for Vancouver, and McDavid puts up more than one goal for the playoffs. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel for more content. Comment below on who you think will win this series. Say hello to the dog for us as well. And until next time, we'll catch you guys.
See you guys.